What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, I've talked a lot about in the past that, I wasn't a big fan of Trump or whatever after January 6th. I thought it was BS, and they started going after him on these political persecutions. That's what I see him as now. But when they first started, I was like, really, was this dude really that bad? I got to looking into these things, and, I started seeing signs of clear misconduct going on here. Started looking even deep further into it, researching a little bit, and, especially with the overturning the election and the fake electors BS, come to find out that those slate of electors are only put in place if he wins his court cases. So you hear all these pundits on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere on the mainstream talking about, oh, he had fake electors, he's trying to subvert democracy. No, that's not how that works, by the way, y'all. I don't see why they don't understand this. They can't seem to see that for some reason, that's not how that works. Those slate of electors only go in if the original slate of electors, we figure out those to be the actual fraudulent electors, right? So if Trump wins his cases on his claims of voter fraud, then yeah, the electors that were put in there were fraudulent. And so Trump's slate of electors would go in, the quote-unquote fake electors, right? So I got to looking into that. I'm like, holy crap. So I dug deep into all these. And the only one I could find any sort of substance with was the documents case, right? Like looking at all the documents, sure, there's a genuine argument. Of course, given all the other indictments against Trump, I was like, yeah, probably not. But there's an argument there to be made. Should he have these documents? Should he not have these documents? Maybe that is up for the courts to decide. But now, come to find out, Julie Kelly coming through once again, just laying it all out for us.
The General Services Administration, they handled the transition. They had 6 pallets worth of boxes in a Virginia storage facility for 6 months. 2 of those pallets, about 2,000 pounds of boxes, these were all boxes, were transported to Mar-a-Lago in August of 2021. Now, who the hell knows what were in those boxes? Why were they kept there? Why, if NARO was looking for something, why didn't they just go down the street to Arlington, Virginia and go look in a storage facility? So, and then, Steve, what I found today, I went to the White House visitor log, which is always a good place to go when you want to see who's zooming who. So we saw David Ferrero met with Dana Remus, who was Joe Biden's chief counsel in the White House, met with her twice in September of 2021. Gary Stern met with Jonathan Su, the deputy general counsel, at the White House. This is all happening at the White House in August of 2021. And then discovered today, Gary Stern again, the NARA general counsel, at the White House with Richard Sauber, who is Joe Biden's special counsel, top lawyer, with him the day before Jack Smith announces the criminal indictment.
All right, so they had possession of the documents before it was shipped to Mar-a-Lago. The FBI signed off on this. It's like, what is really going on? Why were they all going to the White House? What is really going on with this? This was all brought out, just insane story, and it really goes towards, yes, these are all political persecutions. The documents case is now, in my mind, BS because of this, right? Like, NARA could have easily went and just got back all those documents, got with the federal government, got with the Biden administration and said, look, we need these documents back. They're in Virginia. Let's go get them. Boom. Case solved. But no, they wanted this to be shipped down to Mar-a-Lago so they could go raid it, so they could have some justification to bring an indictment against Trump. Once again, laying their plans out all on the table. This is just outright insanity what's going on, and that means we just need to fight even harder because, like I said, you always want to know what's going on with the government. Yeah, the government's not doing any good stuff right now, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Yeah, they are underhanded as hell. The Biden administration, I saw a headline earlier. Yeah, he's forgiving more student loan debt, or maybe it's finally going through for 317,000 students of art institution students. It's like, what the fuck? is going on. Biden is doing nothing but trying to purchase votes. He's trying to boost himself up in the polls, and it's not going to work, y'all. It is not going to work. I'm sorry. There is no hope for Biden whatsoever come November, and that's all I got to say about that. But let's go ahead and get into the story right quick because, yeah, we're invading Gaza now, right? Like, you probably saw the headline. You saw the thumbnail. Yeah, that's essentially an invasion, right? Check this out.
Land in Gaza shoots at our service members who are on the $320 million pier that we're building. You're telling me our service members can shoot back?
They have the right to return fire to protect themselves. Now,
well, do we think that's like? So now I want to move to the likelihood that you think someone from land in Gaza might shoot at our service members on this pier. Do you think that that's a likely scenario?
That's possible. Yes.
This is a very telling moment, Mr. Secretary, because you've said something that's quite possible that could happen, right? Shots from Gaza on our service members, and then the response, our armed service members shooting live fire into Gaza. That is a possible outcome here so that we can become the Port Authority and run this pier. Right?
That's correct. You know, I expect that we will always
have
the ability to protect ourselves. Don't you think that counts as boots
on the ground? President Biden told the country that we weren't going to have boots on the ground in Gaza.
And we won't.
Okay, but you guys parse the distinction between, like, when Americans think boots on the ground, they think Americans in harm's way or engaged actively in a conflict. You guys seem to be sort of saying that boots on a pier connected to the ground, connected to service members shooting into Gaza, doesn't count as boots on the ground?
It does not.
I think you're going to find the American people have a different perspective on that. And if we're going to have people shooting into Gaza, we probably should have a vote on that.
All right, so you might be thinking, yeah, invasion. No, they're not invading. They're giving humanitarian assistance to these people, right? Like, think about it in reverse. That's what I always love to do. Put your critical thinking hat on and think about these things in reverse, right? Like, I don't know. Let's say China goes to set up a pier in Ukraine, right, to give humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. And Ukraine just so happens to be totally against China, right? Like, let's do this in reverse. How would the United States take that, right? They would take that as, oh, no, we wouldn't stand for that, right? Oh, we got to defend Ukraine. Oh, this is just getting outright insanity. No, it's just humanitarian assistance. It's like, come on, people. We don't need to be involved in this. If you want to give humanitarian assistance, do it through the United Nations, right? They have a peacekeeping corps. They do this type of stuff all the time. They're constantly all over in Africa giving humanitarian assistance. That is what they are there for. That is part of the Peace Corps existence, is for humanitarian assistance. And they are militarized, sure, but that is only because they go into war zones to give humanitarian assistance, and they know they're going to be fired upon most of the time. This is just getting BS. This is just BS, in my opinion. Let's get into the story, though. Defense Secretary, possible U.S. troops setting up pier off Gaza gets shot at. Yeah, you think when the government of a nation that we're setting up a pier at says that they want to destroy Israel and destroy the United States, and you're going to go and set up a pier to give them humanitarian assistance? Come the freak on. You really think they're not going to... Joe Biden promised us, like that video said, no boots on the ground in Gaza, and now he's going against his word. Hopefully his polls tank for this, because once again, this is going to be another Afghanistan. Service members are going to get killed. There's going to be situations. They're going to be fired upon. We're going to end up killing civilians, and it's just going to be a debacle, if you ask me. The Biden administration is a rogue administration, and they really need to go. This is starting to get more insane. What is past insane? Maniacal? Yeah. So the Biden administration is starting to get maniacal with their BS, right? With their rogueness, with just doing whatever the hell they want to do, right? They can't secure our freaking southern border. but they will go and secure the border of a foreign nation. Just blows your freaking mind. Check this out. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Tuesday said it's possible that the U.S. troops setting up a floating pier off the coast of Gaza could be shot at, and that they might have the right to shoot back. You know, they definitely, if they get shot at, they're definitely going to shoot back. You think they're not going to fire back? You know, I would be mad if they didn't, if they're getting shot at. Right? Like, setting up our soldiers to get killed once again for nothing, for no reason, right? To give some people that don't like us humanitarian assistance. Typically, all of the deployed service members carry guns.
Richmond, north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do.
And they have the ability to protect themselves if challenged, Austin told House Armed Services Committee lawmakers while testifying before the panel. As many as 1,000 American service members are helping set up a floating pier in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Gaza. The structure will consist of an 1,800-foot-long causeway that will be attached to the shore. It is meant to support the U.S. government and its partners in getting humanitarian aid to civilians in the territory. Pentagon officials have repeatedly emphasized that the Israeli military would provide force protection on and around the pier, known officially as the Joint Logistics Over the Shore, JLOTS, if you will, with no American troops on the ground in Gaza, right? And you know how, once again, the corporate press is lying to you, because I'm sorry, you can differentiate between these things, but it's still the same thing, right? Like the old saying, if you paint a turd, it's still a turd, right? Just connecting a pier to the ground and then putting U.S. service members on that pier and not allowing them to actually go onto land. No. You still have boots on the ground in Gaza. There is this thing called, borders, right? Like, a country has 11 miles offshore into the ocean. That is known as their territory, right? So, yeah, there's boots on the ground in Gaza. They're lying to us. They're trying to manipulate the wording to make it seem like, oh, there's no boots on the ground. No, they're not. They're on a pier that's connected to the freaking ground. Just blows my mind. But asked by Rep. Matt Gaetz about the likelihood that someone from the land might shoot at U.S. service members on the pier, Austin replied, that's possible, yes. No. It's almost an inevitability, if you will. Because, yeah, Hamas hates the United States. They want the destruction of the United States, like I said. So, yeah, it's almost a guarantee that U.S. service members are going to get shot at. And there's a high likelihood that U.S. service members are going to be injured, if not killed, right? They're just going to be sitting ducks out there, right? You think Hamas isn't going to try to set up some sort of, like, maybe even a suicide bomber or something like that? Like, these people are nuts. We really shouldn't be doing this. Like I said, they should go through the UN, or even still, if you really want to give humanitarian assistance that freaking badly, airdrop it. We've done that many times before into hostile territory, right? We've got all the airplanes to do so. The large C-130 Hercules planes, yeah, they can drop pallets of MREs, whatever, toilet paper, whatever the hell they need. They can drop pallets out of the back of one of these planes. They're going to parachute to the ground, landing safely, and there you go. There's your humanitarian assistance, right? Or allow the UN to go in and give the humanitarian assistance. Therefore, we are not involved. U.S. service members are not in the line of fire, because they may not fire at UN because it's the United Nations. It's not the United States. So if someone from land and Gaza shoots at our service members who are on the $320 million, by the way, thank you, doing that in a deficit, here we go, spending money we don't have, having to borrow freaking money to build a pier that will allow our service members to get killed. That's what the Biden administration is doing, and that's where your tax dollars are going, and Congress approved it. $320 million pier that we're building. You're telling me our service members can't shoot back? Gates also asked. They have the right to return fire to protect themselves, Austin said. Yeah, and you think that's not going to happen? Like I said, inevitable. The Defense Department on March 8th first announced the plan for the JLOTS, or JLOTS, if you will, with work beginning last week. The structure, expected to be operational in early May, comes as the United Nations and humanitarian organizations in Gaza have warned that the region has fallen into famine due to severe lack of access to food and medical supplies. More than 34 Palestinians have died in Gaza as Israel fights a war against the militant group Hamas. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, on Monday released new images of the pier's construction. Once completed, it's expected to initially support 90 daily truckloads of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Oh, and how we are the virtue signalers. Look at us, world. We're giving Gaza humanitarian aid. We're putting our service members' lives on the line to give them food. To give people that hate us food and medical supplies. Oh, how good are we? Yeah, eat my freaking shorts, by the way. But, once again, if we weren't involved in this, if Trump was in office, maybe it would be a little bit different. Maybe Hamas wouldn't have attacked on October 7th. I don't think Trump would get into doing some crap like this. I really don't think so. But that really doesn't matter because it's not Trump in office. It's Biden who's in office, willingly just going against what the American people think is right? Like, you go ask anybody, do you think the Palestinians need humanitarian aid? They'll say, sure. Do you think we should put our service members' lives on the line to give them that humanitarian aid? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you think that's a good thing? To put our service members in the line of fire because Hamas hates the United States, by the way. Do you really think they're not going to take a couple of pot shots or a suicide bomber to try to kill some U.S. service members? Right? Like, they don't care. They want to eliminate the United States. So does Iran and Hezbollah and a lot of these Middle East countries because of our foreign interventionist foreign policy BS that we've been trying to pull in the Middle East for decades. Yeah, that's the reason ISIS exists. That's the reason some of these terrorist organizations came to be. We funded some of those terrorist organizations, right? Like, we know Israel funded Hamas at one point, right? This just blows my mind. We make these debacles, and then we make it even worse by doing stuff like this, right? Like, just let Israel take care of it. Let the UN take care of it. If they want to get humanitarian aid, let them do it. Assist the UN. How about send that humanitarian aid or whatever to the UN so they can do it properly instead of putting U.S. service members' lives on the line. This just outright blows my freaking mind. It's essentially an invasion. Oh, there's no boots on the ground though. Not a single one. Just I don't know what to do about this. I can screech all day long, and nothing's going to change, y'all, until November, until we get the Biden administration out of office. This, like I've said it 1,000 times, the Biden administration is the worst administration in United States history, and once again, proving it right here, no doubt in my mind. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. And stay legitical. Peace.